Yoga is the amalgamation of both science and art. The asanas are truly beautiful movements of art, but studied with scientific knowledge of human anatomy and physiology, which is science. Let's get more clarity into it by having our expert's opinion in a panel discussion on the topic, the science and art of yoga. On behalf of United Consciousness, it's my pleasure to invite and welcome our next guest, Thakur Krishna Singh from Estonia. Mr. Krishna Singh is a blogger, writer, yoga instructor. He has traveled more than 100 countries of the world, and today he's participating in a discussion. In the panel, we have with us Mr. Badrinath Gaila. He has learned yoga from various traditional schools in India. He teaches various forms of holistic yoga science across the world and organized various yoga workshops and events across Europe and India, and also several workshops for corporate companies. He is currently established in Netherlands, where he founded Yoga Sadhana Yoga with Gaila. His organization is working on a mission to popularize the ancient, authentic Indian knowledge of yoga and help 1 million people to live a physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually improved life by sharing ancient yogic wisdom. His vision is to enable people to live holistic and healthy lives and to make this world a better place to live in for future generations. Badrinath Gaila holds a civil engineering master's degree. He worked as a researcher at the University of Bradford, UK and Berkeley Haas, USA in the field of environment and climate change. He implemented several projects in the areas of agriculture, water sanitization, affordable housing, energy and education in rural villages. He has been recognized as a mentor of change by Niti Aayog Atal Innovation Mission and one of the Indian ambassadors of 100 Finland. Our next panelist is Mr. Igor Onashchenko, CEO and founder of one of the leading construction company in Belarus. He spent 27 years in heartfulness meditation, group of heartfulness meditation organized by Day of Yoga starting from 2015. In the panel, we also have with us Swami Turiya. He is the founder of European Yoga Therapists Federation, which is a private charitable organization to promote and research yoga therapy. He was also behind the creation of famous Yoga Research Center of Madura College, Madurai. He has customized and devised courses on yoga therapy at university level. He has trained more than 7,000 students in yoga therapy. After his 15 years of yoga therapy teaching in academic institutions, he founded the Turiya Ashram in Western Ghats of South India and trained international university students from all over the world in yoga therapy and yoga psychology. Under his guidance, Yoga Psychology magazine was published. Some of his students are practicing and working as yoga psychologists in US and in Europe. Swamiji is a firm believer of Guru Parampara tradition and science behind yoga practices. The yoga knowledge of Swamiji was influenced by the teachers like Maharishi Aruna, Yog Ratna Padma, Swami Niranjan and Swami Shiva Yogam. Swamiji, in collaboration with mental health institutions of South India, has designed yoga-based intervention techniques for differently abled children in schools and schizophrenia management centers. Swamiji is the academic and yoga consultant for a number of mental health institutions in Tamil Nadu. Swamiji has authored a number of books and has presented selected papers on yoga therapy and yoga psychology. His major publications include Administration of Yoga Therapy Modules, Yoga Therapy Diabetic Management, Yoga Psychology Diagnostic, Yoga Psychology Lessons. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tobar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, respected guest. I acknowledge your presence, Thakur Krishna Singh ji.
Namaskar ji.
We acknowledge your presence, Swami Turiya ji. We acknowledge your presence, Igor ji. And we acknowledge your presence, Badrinath ji. And we also acknowledge presence of our viewers who are watching us and will be watching us from different parts of the world. Friends, yesterday we had a panel discussion on the topic, is meditation is art or science? Now we are widening up the scope, and today we are going to discuss whether yoga is art or science or both. So let me begin with Swami Turiyaji. Swamiji, you have done lots of research as we were listening in your introduction. So whether yoga is science, sacred, or secular, what is it?
A very good question, actually speaking, and since it's a right question for the right moment, because most of the people all over the world think that actually yoga is associated with some kind of a religion. Actually, on the other hand, it is not true, because yoga existed even before the formation of the religion. That is one of the fundamental thing people for, and because recently we were having some kind of a conversation with the European friends, and they were asking, oh, yoga means Hinduism. No, I said no. Yoga existed even before Hinduism. Not many people are aware of that thing. That is first thing. And secondly speaking, whether yoga is a science or art is, we cannot, it is some, yoga is totally not defined within this kind of a terms, because yoga is basically a evolutionary science. So you cannot call it as some kind of an art, because it mostly focuses on how human beings can evolve into further level. So not only it is not addressing the fundamental question of who we are, also it addressing the fundamental question of how the universe is also formed. Because one of the sutras in Patanjali Yoga Sutra is actually speaking, man is a micro universe. So what you can find in the universe, basically you can find it in man also, like that Patanjali Yoga Sutra says. Currently, I think if you ask me, yoga is entering the second wave. We have corona waves, now yoga is entering the second wave. So far, people were focused mainly on how yoga as a physical science can be applied. But currently, the modern research, and I will, if you, since I will let you know in the conversation,
Yes.
because I don't want to take all the time now, so I
Yes.
will let you know some of the research clearly says that yoga principles now they're applied in a very very specific scientific situations. For example, how the free diving, one of the thing, and I will let you know in the future conversation. So, and another thing also, so the yoga is entering a second wave of how yoga can be used on a mental level. So far, we are talking about how yoga can give better sleep or diabetes management, something like that. Now we are taking the yoga to the next level of how yoga can be beneficial on a mental level.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
is another thing. Yeah.
So Swami Turiya mentioned that it is not religion. It is in fact beyond religion, and it's a evolutionary science about self and the surroundings. So we will probe deep into it. Let me go to Thakur Krishnaji from Estonia.
नमस्कार जी
Thakur Krishnaji, you are also a practitioner of yoga. How do you see whether it is science or art or both or none?
सबसे पहले मैं आप सभी को नमस्कार करना चाहूँगा और आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, शुक्रिया कि आपने मुझे शामिल किया। योग के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा भ्रांति है सभी जगह। कुछ लोग केवल योगासनों को ही योग समझते हैं, कुछ लोग कुछ क्रियाओं को योग समझते हैं। आपने बड़ा अच्छा क्वेश्चन रखा है कि योग विज्ञान है या आर्ट है या दोनों है। मेरे हिसाब से, मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस है, सबकी अपनी अपनी पहुंच होती है। चूंकि मैं बचपन से ही गुरुकुल से जुड़ा हुआ था, आज गुरुकुल में ना रहते हुए भी मैं जुड़ा हुआ हूं विचारों से, अपने प्रयासों से। तो मेरे हिसाब से मेरा जो अनुभव है और ज्ञान है, उसके मुताबिक योग एक विज्ञान है। आर्ट भी हम कह सकते हैं, लेकिन अलग अंदाज में। जीवन जीने के लिए जिस आर्ट की जरूरत है वो योग है। तो मेरे हिसाब से योग विज्ञान है।
Thank you.
शरीर को अलग अलग अवस्थाओं में मोड़ देना ये योग नहीं है। कुछ श्वास संबंधी क्रियाएं जिसे हम प्राणायाम कहते हैं उन्हें कर लेना, या कुछ अन्य क्रियाएं जो कि सफाई संबंधी है, शरीर को स्वच्छता देने के लिए, केवल इन क्रियाओं को कर लेने से या प्राणायाम कर लेने से या शरीर को विभिन्न अवस्थाओं में मोड़ लेने से ही आप योगी नहीं बन जाते हैं। योग की आवश्यकता हर किसी को है। और तुरानंद जी ने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि कोई ये धर्म की वस्तु नहीं है, लेकिन ये धारण करने की वस्तु है।
Thank you very much.
जुड़ी हुई वस्तु नहीं है, लेकिन योग जो है धारण करने की वस्तु है हर किसी के लिए।
Thank you.
योग एक विज्ञान है।
Thank
अगर
you.
आपको जीवन को समझना है और जीवन को सही तरह से जीना है और अपनी मंजिल को पाना है, तो आप जो योग रूपी कला है या योग रूपी विज्ञान है उसको अपने जीवन में लाना होगा।
Thank you.
तभी आप
So
समझ पाएंगे कि आपको जीवन कैसे जीना चाहिए और जीवन का आपका मकसद क्या होना चाहिए।
Thank you. So Thakur Krishnaji mentioned that yoga is science and art both. It's a science because it has its own principles and it works on that. It is art also. It is an art of living which takes you towards your purpose of life. So he says it's truly art and it's truly science also. And he said merely twisting your body is not yoga. It is beyond that. Merely breathing or breathing practices is not yoga. It is beyond that. We will enter into that discussion further. I'll come to Igerji also. Igerji, you have been working on heartfulness meditation.
Yes.
So whether this meditation, heartfulness meditation, which is a part of yoga, what do you think? Is it art or is it science?
Dr. Vikramji, everybody who is presenting, I am very thankful to you. And it's both art and science also. If you go inside yourself, if you go deep into your heart, if you feel what you have inside of you, not only in your mind, but in your heart, if you open your heart, because recently we all are in the mind, mostly in the mind. Everything what is going on is going only through the mind. We love through our mind. We accept through our mind. Our heart is not used at all. If we just touch our heart, if we just open a little our heart, everything starts to change. Then we start to see the art and science of yoga. Then we start to see everything what is going on in the world, and it's absolutely different world. It opens up not only our heart, it opens up all other people also, because it's going in one, I will say, in one connection, that we are deeply connected, that we are in reality not different people, that we are all one. And it's very close to united consciousness, that we all are one, that we all are connected, that we are not only body, soul, mind, but we are all everything. And the way to this, it's only our heart, to open our heart, to feel this deep connection with other people, to feel that there is no difference between me and other, and come deep in this connection. It changes everything, because it's not explanation, it's just feeling what I feel when I meditate, when I practice heartfulness meditation as part of yoga. And I think that everybody who is presenting here, who is participating, who is listening, they all have felt this. And that's why we are all together here. This deep connection between all of us, that we all are one, and that yoga means unity, and we are keep all together.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much.
So Igerji mentioned that it's art and science both, and it is art of opening your heart. As somebody asked that master, how do I know that my practices are taking me in the right direction? Master said, if your heart is opening to the world, it means you're going in the right direction. So if we are truly performing yoga, certainly our heart will become open to all till we reach oneness. So having understood that yoga is art and science both in its own processes, and art is something that gains perfection through practice, and science has something which has principles in it which are tried and tested time and again. Badrinath ji, if yoga is an art, how to master that art? There are people from different parts of the world listening to us today. They want to know how can they master this art of yoga. We'll go to the science portion later. How to master, from where should we begin?
So, in my terms, as everyone agreed, like it's both art and science. So, when it comes to art, it's about the values of yoga, right? So, one of the value is abhyasa and vairagya. When you have this value, so it's very easy. Like our life becomes very easy. So it's only just abhyasa and vairagya, but it has a lot of meaning behind it. And for example, if you consider Ishwar Pranidhana, so when we are changing, when we are working with these attitudes of yamas and niyamas, or the yogic values which is mentioned by Maharshi Patanjali or any other sages, so it will help you to live our life better way than others, and also it help you to see the view the life in different perspective. That's why I say yoga is a view of life, also a way of life, but also the view of life, because you see differently than who like the people around you. Whatever the situation is, you will try to understand, like you go into the foods of that situation, you become empathetic than becoming sympathetic. So yoga is an art, like especially like adopting the values of yoga, I can say, adopting the values of yoga like yamas and niyamas and Ishwar Pranidhana, like or Abhyasa Vairagya. So which will really help you to like become a better version of yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. So Badrinath ji mentioned that yoga stands for certain values, and if you want to master the art of yoga, it is abhyasa and vairagya that is most important. Nicely said, and this will help us to reach to the the art of yoga. And he said that yoga is the view of life. We'll come to that. But Swami Turiya was talking about certain scientific principles which have been proven, that shows to the world that how yoga is a science which applies on mental level and physical level both. So Swami Turiya, will come to you to continue your stream of thoughts where you were talking about. What are the scientific evidences that are being seen in your researches?
Yeah, I'm happy to share, actually speaking, because most of the time people think yoga is some kind of a pseudo science, because that's a view everyone has, and it belongs to Hinduism, and by practicing yoga you are becoming a Hindu, something like that. On the other hand, yoga is, from the very beginning, it has a scientific approach. I don't know, like, because we are all familiar with Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra starts with Chitta Vritti Nirodhana. So Chitta Vritti Nirodhana in Sanskrit, everyone knows what is the meaning of it. Actually speaking, how to make your mind a better mind. So this is the first step itself is providing a scientific viewpoint. So you are approaching things in a scientific view. You are not approaching with a religious mind or a non-religious mind or a atheistic mind or a non like that. No, you are approaching, it's a fact-based study. We are calling that in the scientific term, it's an interface. So we are attacking the interface, how a human being can be a better human being in a scientific way, not just like some kind of a theoretical way. Okay, yeah, you do this, you will be, no, scientific way. So yoga has all the systems. Like we in the India we say Ashtanga yoga. Here they say systematic yoga, because yoga starts with the system. first, okay, this system you have to follow. Why you have to follow this system? Because it makes you to go to another dimension of your life or another level of your life. So my guru, who was the first person actually, Maharishi Yoga Arunachalam, he was the first person to follow Swami Kulavyananda. I don't know many. He took from a lot of the principles from Swami Kulavyananda, because Swami Kulavyananda was the first one in India to start academic research on yoga poses and the scientific benefits. Even though Swami Kulavyananda was not a doctor or not anybody like related to science, but because he worked with yoga among the students, he noticed, hey, we have to do some study, man, here, because something is happening to the students. So my guru, Swami Maharishi Vidya, and he took that principles, and he was the first person in India to form diploma in yoga academically. And that time it was really funny, because that time no Indians were studying that course, because they were all thinking, no, it is something the yoga like that. No. And he started in 1950, and all the foreigners that time came to study from other country, and then that is how the yoga began to spread. So here, a scientific point of view, I wanted to share something interesting, because the first thing not many of the people know is the Steiner school, which Germans actually were the first Europeans to do a lot of scientific activities on yoga. And I don't think even anybody, the first ashram actually was established in Europe 1900, even before the First World War, Second World War. And Iyengar and other people, they were beginning to spread yoga later only. But in 1900 itself, there was a yoga school in Germany, and they're already talking about doing yoga research in 1900, even before the First World War. And second was that in 1846, I'm talking about 19th century, 1846, there was a guy from Scotland who is called James Bride, who wrote a book about all the meditation techniques which are followed in India, how they can be adapted in the Western world as a psychological therapy. I'm talking about 1846. So he wrote a book that time, and that was the basis book for mesmerism and hypnotism. And he concludes that actually in hypnosis, the state of mind is focused on a single image or a single object, and which he quotes that I took this from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which says mind may be calmed by focusing on a single object, which is meditation. And he says, okay, I took this from yoga. And he suggested in 1846 there should be a yoga committee, some kind of academic committee should be set up to go and do research. What happened was, in that time, because we were under the British colonialism, and they sent a lot of scientists that time, and they collected so much of books from Bengal and from Himalayas and a lot of the scrolls, and they took them back and they analyzed now, which are all of them are kept in London British Museum. Everyone knows, and there you can. It's not publicly available because they put it in a it's okay. They are still doing research on so many things. And recently, in the current trend in research is how to make the man Superman. Because now you will all know that in Hollywood movies there is so much demand for Superman, Spider-Man, and all these things. But actually speaking, the research point of view speaking, now there are two researches very important and which are really based on yoga. One is space exploration, and second one is marine exploration. In Germany, there is a place called the Future Lab, and they are very busy with how the breathing techniques can be used to stay under the water, so that in situation like a war, how the soldiers can stay under the water so that they can not be tired or not be anything. And recently in the Future Lab, I don't there is one person called Anna van Botiker. She proved in the Future Lab that she can hold the breath for 8 minutes. But some of the yogis in India, they can hold the breath for more than 20 minutes to 30 minutes. But the problem is, since we don't have a scientific focus of the mind, We don't acknowledge them. So that is a problem. Now, this woman actually has set up a foundation to teach German soldiers and American soldiers the techniques of pranayama to stay under the water.
That's quite amazing. Swami Turiyananda is talking about many such scientific development that are happening in space exploration and marine exploration related to breathing. How can you hold it? That we will come back to this discussion. That's very important. Let me go to Thakur Krishna Singh ji. Thakur Krishna Singh ji, you mentioned about that yoga is art and science both, and it is art of living the life. So, how can we start developing this art of yoga, living the life yoga way? Can you suggest some things to our
देखिए,
audience? Practical
योग
tips that can be executed.
योग ये प्लेट में सजा करके चम्मच छुरी से खाने वाली चीज नहीं है। योग को जानने के लिए और योगमय जीवन को बनाने के लिए आपका धार्मिक होना जरूरी नहीं है, लेकिन आपका आध्यात्मिक होना जरूरी है। अगर आप आध्यात्मिक नहीं होते हैं तो ना आप योग को समझ पाएंगे और ना ही जीवन में योग में बना पाएंगे। सीधी सी बात है। महर्षि पतंजलि जी ने, उनका एक सूत्र सभी को पता है, योगस्य चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा। चित्त की वृत्तियों को शांत करने के लिए योग सबसे अच्छा माध्यम है। चित्त को समझना, मन को समझना, कितनी सारी हमारे अलग अलग जो कर्मेंद्रिय ज्ञानेंद्रिय उनको समझना, बहुत सारा कुछ है। गोस्वामी पतंजलि जी ने 8 स्टेप्स बनाए, यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, धारणा, ध्यान, समाधि। मैं बात कर रहा हूं योग के विज्ञान के बारे में। योग का विज्ञान ऐसा नहीं है कि आप यूनिवर्सिटी ओपन करके लैब बना करके उसका परीक्षण कर सकते हैं, उसमें रिसर्च कर सकते हैं। जी नहीं। अगर योग में जाना है, योग को आगे ले जाना है, योग को समझना है, तो आपको आध्यात्मिक होना बहुत जरूरी है। आप आध्यात्मिक होंगे तभी आप पतंजलि जी का योग सूत्र पढ़ सकेंगे और समझ सकेंगे कि उन्होंने 8 स्टेप्स क्यों बनाए। यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, धारणा, ध्यान, समाधि। और जो पहला स्टेप है, आप समझ रहे हैं, यम। यम में क्या है? सत्य, अहिंसा, अस्तेय, ब्रह्मचर्य, अपरिग्रह। जब तक इन चीजों को, इन आचरणों को अपने जीवन में नहीं लाएंगे आप योग के मार्ग में आगे जा ही नहीं सकते। सत्य, अहिंसा, अस्तेय, ब्रह्मचर्य, अपरिग्रह। आप समझने की कोशिश करें कितना कठिन है। कोई योगाश्रम ओपन कर देने से, यूनिवर्सिटी में पाठ्यक्रम का एक हिस्सा बना देने से, या लैब में जाकर के उसके कुछ क्रियाओं को रख देने से कभी भी आप जो है योग में ना पारंगत हो सकते हैं, ना उस दिशा में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। योग अपने आप में इतना बड़ा विज्ञान है, ये जीवन विज्ञान है। जीवन को समझने का विज्ञान है, जीवन जीने का विज्ञान है। लाइफ क्यों है, दुनिया क्यों है, संसार क्यों है, हमारा अपना मकसद क्या है, हमें लाइफ से कैसे जुड़ना चाहिए, हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, ये सारा विज्ञान योग के अंदर है।
Thank you.
योग को सीमित कर देना
जी,
बिल्कुल भी न्याय नहीं होगा।
ठीक है। So, Thakur Krishna ji mentioned that science may help us in understanding yoga, but if you want to live yoga, then you must have a spiritual bent. A bent that is not religious, but it should be spiritual in any ways. Then only you will be able to inculcate yoga in your life through those 8 steps which Maharishi Patanjali mentioned. And he laid the point that it is very much important to live yoga rather than to intellectually understand and appreciate it. Because living yamas and niyamas is very profound thing than just understanding and talking about it. Point taken. Let's go to Igerji. You are helping people in living yoga through heartfulness. You said that we open the heart to others, heart chakra gets opened. People are so much hurt and wounded by others' behavior. And forgiveness is something which is very difficult for majority of the people. How through yoga you can teach forgiveness? My heart chakra is closed because I cannot forgive you for the behavior that you did to me. For you made me feel was so bad that I can never forget you and forgive you in many lifetimes, leave alone this. Now, in such situations, how can yoga contribute?
You see, the only way how yoga can contribute and how this situation can be changed, that first of all, I have to change myself. Till I am staying in the condition which bring in and hurting other people, nothing will be changed. First of all, exactly what previous was told, we have to leave the yoga, we have to leave yama and niyama. And during meditation, heartfulness meditation, we go deep in our heart. And we just, when we go deeper, we find this love. We find this pain only in our heart first. We cannot do anything bad to others if we don't have this pain inside. And in this going, diving deep in our heart, we feel why we have done this or that. When we understand that this pain was inside of my heart, and it's only this pain, it's not everything what I have inside I share with others. Is it pain? I share pain. I bring pain to everybody. If I have love, I share love which is inside. But first of all, I have to go deep inside and I see what happening to me, what happening to others people. If this understanding is coming, not intellectual understanding, it's the understanding on the level of feelings, it's the understanding on the level of my being, of core being. If this understanding is coming, and it's coming through meditation, it's coming through deep meditation, deep dive into the heart with the help of masters. I think different masters help, and heartfulness meditation helping a lot. When we go deep in this, then we can understand. And after this understanding is in my heart, then everybody is feeling this. It's not that we are disconnected or somehow I feel and somebody is not. People feel it automatically. It happens, it goes. They don't know what, but they start to weep, they start to feel how their heart is melting, how the pain is coming out of this heart. It's not only connected with some person, it's connected with the heart of the person who is going deep into his own
Mhm.
heart. And this is only help we can do only through this, not that we teach somebody, but through meditation, through going deep into the heart, through feeling what is there, through opening this all this pain which is collected there, what is accumulated many years, all the pain, and I can say that a lot of pain is accumulated from the childhood, from words which are told even by parents, by people who are very close to us. Somebody says they don't think anything, just say harsh word and it stays inside. And we don't remember, it's not in our conscience, it's deeper, it's in our heart, and we suffer maybe all our life if we don't open it. We keep it. It's influence all our life. It influence everything what we do because it's like accepted without reasoning. That it's like this. That, for example, you are bad or you are ugly or something like this. And
Mm.
yes, from the childhood it can be sit deep inside, and only
Mm.
with meditation, slowly, we can see that somebody said this, and that it's really doesn't
Mm.
important. and we
Thank you.
can remove it. Just we can remove just by seeing, by feeling this, by remembering this. It's coming because usually the protection of our mind and that we just close it. We don't put it in our mind to come. That we cannot live with this. That's why it's
Yes.
buried deep inside.
Thank you. Thank you, Igerji. Igerji mentioned that the way to go about it is go deep inside yourself. When you go deep inside yourself, probably you'll find pain, lots of wounds from childhood till date. For somebody said something, did something, you felt something. And when that stored subconscious pain melts, then your heart gets open. And he said, instead of avoiding those wounds, accept them, witness them, and then your heart gets melted, then it gets opened. Probably seeing things from right perspective, then only you will be able to see a different perspective when you feel less wounded. First, your wounds are acknowledged, and then you may see the different perspective, which Badrinathji was telling, giving a view of life. So, Badrinathji, we have different audience from watching us. Can you give us some practical tips how to change view of life through yoga? Some tips that people can execute from tomorrow itself. You said that do abhyasa. What are the things I should do abhyasa upon? What abhyasa should I begin now? And how?
So before everything, they should be ready for yoga. So this is very,
Mhm.
very important. If they still believe that they are their body, if they still believe that they are their mind, they are not yet ready for yoga. So if they are ready, if they still, if they wanted to know that, explore that true nature of you, then then comes yoga.
Mhm.
So I can say to like it's very, very tough. It's not that easy how we talk like abhyasa vairagya or anything else. First of all, you have to understand what is causing you the pain, to work on all these activities. So first you have to analyze. The self analysis is very, very important. And second, first they have to start working on the value system. So actually what values they are living with. Yoga talks about many values, right? So every human being has different values they are living with. So you have to go through your values, because some people doesn't have any value at all. They haven't thought about this concept of which values I am living, and which values you are carrying forward to your next generation of your children or anyone. So first you have to analyze your values. So, and also you have to understand the values of yoga, and integrate into your lifestyle. So and third one is abhyasa means whatever you are doing, the main pain is because we are expecting the result and doing it. So whether it is your work, or whether it is your children, whether it is for because you join your children in an international school because you want him to have a high grade. So if you expect that, if he get a little low also, you feel so much frustrated, you put a lot of pressure on your child, your life get irritated, and your child life also gets spoiled. So without expecting, give him the freedom, without expecting, do your 100%. So then you will see the results, and also taking the success and failure equally, right? Which is very, very important. Maintaining the equanimity is yoga we talk about. So bringing that equanimity to yourself is very, very important. These all happen through the process of yoga. Once you know the values, you have to work on your body, your breathing, and your mindset, where yoga has different concepts,
Mhm.
different ways to do that, like breathings or meditations. So you can go to any yoga institute, but you should, first of all, you should have mindset of I want to do this and I want to change. You want a change, and also you want to know your true nature, so that you can better use yourself,
Mhm.
right?
Thank
So
you.
I can say, yeah,
Thank you.
these
So,
are.
the practical methods you suggested And one thing that was in my mind since Swami Turiya ji mentioned about man to Superman. So that's quite interesting thing in the times of Avenger movies. So Swamiji, some practical tips. I know that we cannot directly become Superman. From here, what steps one should take? Maybe two steps, two baby steps that you would like to tell to audience looking at us. What two baby steps they should start taking from today itself towards yogic principles?
My guru used to say that you buy an expensive car and you clean it and you maintain it and everything is perfect. But if you don't put petrol, you cannot run the car. So yoga is like the petrol basically. So you can have your body is priceless and your life is priceless. You are a wonderful human being. So yoga is like a petrol. If you don't put it, you can whatever you do, like you are expensive one. So you have to start practicing the yoga, and you have to go to the teachers who have studied yoga and who knows about yoga. You cannot learn yoga from a book. Because second thing, there is another concept called physical memory. That is, recently they are talking about physical memory because, for example, even in the darkness, a guitarist can play guitar without finding where it's the guitar, or or like a sitar or whatever harmonium. Even blind people are playing the harmonium, even without knowing where is the key. It's called the physical memory. In physical memory, one of the key element is, my guru used to say, it is like yeah, you have a baby, you have a child of 12-year-old, and the child cannot walk and the child cannot think properly. Why? Because there is some kind of energy deficiency in the human body. So what you have to do, you have to make sure that the child is having enough energy to practice, or enough energy to walk, or enough energy to think. So how that energy can be generated? There comes the yoga. So yoga is a very subtle process from the beginning. My guru always used to say, see, yoga is a very systematic science. No, because it puts systems every time. You can see, even for pranayama, there is a count for pranayama. This many number of time you have to inhale, this many number of time you have to exhale. Why just say pranayama, breathing in and breathing out? No, there has to be some mechanism in it. So in that way, when you begin to practice yoga, like the child who is not able to walk, the yoga works on you and it generates the energy within you, and it creates the physical memory in you. See, why we wanted to eat the same food all the time? Because whenever we eat, our tongue says, hey, this food is very nice, man. That is why I want to eat it. In the same way, when you begin to practice yoga, you have a better experience, very positive experience. Then automatically next time you feel like, oh, I need to do yoga today. Nobody has to force
Yes,
you.
it will automatically attract. Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much, Swami Turiya. Thakur Krishna Singh ji,
हाँ जी।
two practical executionable tips which people can do immediately.
देखिए, अगर आपको केवल हेल्थ को या मेंटल को लेकर के अगर योग से जुड़ना है, तो उसके लिए तो आपको योगासन करने होंगे, प्राणायाम करने होंगे, कुछ क्रियाएं करनी होंगी। मैंने जो फोकस किया है और जो मैंने बात की है, वो रियल योग की बात की है। और रियल योग क्या है? जुड़ना और जोड़ना। लाइफ में किनसे जुड़ना है और किनको जोड़ना है, एक बहुत बड़ा विज्ञान है। महर्षि पतंजलि जी ने, अगर योग का पहला जो चरण है, सबसे पहले आपको आचरण दुरुस्त करने हैं, सत्य से जुड़ना है, हिंसा से दूर रहना है, सत्य अहिंसा, अस्तेय, लालच नहीं करनी है, ब्रह्मचर्य, मनसा वाचा कर्मणा। केवल लंगोटी बांध लेने से कोई ब्रह्मचारी नहीं हो जाता है। मन से, वचन से, कर्म से, विचार भी नहीं आने चाहिए। तो सत्य, अहिंसा, अस्तेय, ब्रह्मचर्य, अपरिग्रह। जैनियों को अक्सर हम देखते हैं, वो अपरिग्रही दिखाई देते हैं। तो अगर रियल में आप जीवन को सफल बनाने के लिए, जीवन को समझने के लिए, या जीवन जीने के लिए अगर योग मार्ग में जाना चाहते हैं, तो आपको पतंजलि जी के जो 8 स्टेप्स हैं, उसके थ्रू जाना होगा। वही प्रोसेस है। कोई इजी स्टेप्स नहीं है,
Okay.
लेकिन अगर आपको फिजिकली अगर फिट होना है,
Mhm.
मेंटली फिट होना है,
हम्म।
तो उसके स्टेप्स बेबी स्टेप्स भी हो सकते हैं, कुछ भी हो सकता है। वो अलग अलग ढंग से लोग उसको एक्सप्लेन करते हैं। मैं भी बोलूंगा कि आप इन क्रियाओं शुरू करें, इन आसनों शुरू करें, इन प्राणायाम से शुरू करें। बाबा रामदेव जी बोलते हैं केवल आप जो है तो अनुलोम विलोम कर लें,
जी
भस्त्रिका कर लें, कपालभाति कर लें, इतने ही प्राणायाम काफी है, 3 प्राणायाम।
जी
कुछ वो आसन बता देते हैं कि कुछ बैठ के कर लें, कुछ खड़े होकर कर लें, कुछ साइड मुड़ लें, कुछ पूछे। तो अगर
ठीक
सिंपली अगर आप केवल स्वस्थ रहने के लिए मानसिक रूप से और शारीरिक रूप से अगर आप आगे जाना चाहते हैं योग मार्ग में, तो बाबा रामदेव की तरह आप केवल कुछ प्राणायाम से और कुछ योगासन से जुड़ सकते हैं।
It depends on your objective of it.
और
Indeed.
अपने जो आहार में है थोड़ा संयमित आहार लें। आप
जी,
जो है
thank
तो आहार को, क्योंकि आहार बहुत जरूरी है। अगर आपका आहार जो है तो अगर फास्ट फूड होगा, ऑयली होगा, फ्राइड होगा, तो वो फिर आपको दिक्कत पैदा करेगा, आपको
Thank you.
फ्लेक्सिबल नहीं बनाएगा वो, ना ही आपको मेंटल दुरुस्त रह पाएगा। तो
Thank
इजी
you.
स्टेप्स किस तरफ आपको ले जाने हैं, पहले वो एक्सप्लेन करना जरूरी है।
जी,
मेरे हिसाब से
धन्यवाद।
अगर सच में अगर योग मार्ग अपनाना चाहते हैं, तो महर्षि पतंजलि जी की जो 8 स्टेप्स हैं, उसमें
should be.
पहला स्टेप यम पालन करना ही पड़ेगा। उसके
जी।
बाद जब आप यम कंप्लीट कर लेंगे, तब आप नियम में जाएंगे।
जी।
फिर नियम में जो है शौच है, संतोष है, तप है, स्वाध्याय है, ईश्वर प्रणिधान है। उसके बाद फिर आगे तीसरे स्टेप में
It has to
आसान
be
होता है।
followed in sequence. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Krishna Singh ji. एस्टोनिया से शुद्ध हिंदी सुन के अच्छा लगा.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
quick tips from you, Iger ji. Executionable tip. Anybody should do it from tomorrow. Very in less words. Yes.
You see, the first of all, if we speak of yoga, start to do exercise. Surya Namaskar, 10 times. 10 times each morning and keep following it because our body is in tune with world energy. Our body is in tune with energy. Just not to discuss, not to speak a lot, just start to do it every morning. Every morning, if you cannot do 10, do 5 times Surya Namaskar. But do it. It's first one. And second one, meditate. At least 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes, go deep into your heart. Close your eyes. Heartfulness meditation. Any other kind of meditation. Just go. Start with this. Start with this wish to change your life if you really want, and it will be bring you to some changes. It's not difficult. It takes just a little time, but it brings tremendous result. It's really.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Badrinath ji, any 1 or 2 quick tips and minimum words?
Yeah, so I agree with everyone's points, and I suggest to first start with like as mentioned by others, like the values, and first to work on again how like yamas and niyamas. Then also asanas, like because it's like people are so much fascinated about asanas, especially my age. So you can start with asanas, no problem. Like you just practice asana, but be mindful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
do with mindfulness so that you will see a lot
Thank
of
you.
change.
Thank you. So, dear friends, we had our esteemed guests from different parts of the world, and we discussed on whether yoga is science or art. And Swami Turiya started saying that yoga is not religion; it's beyond and before religion itself. It's a evolutionary science. It is a science which teaches us that man is the micro universe. It has certain principles, and it works both at mental, physical, and spiritual level. And then Krishna Singh ji mentioned that it has certain science, it has principles, but it is also the art of living your life also. But it has to be followed sequentially. One has to have a spiritual bent, then only one can inculcate yoga in life. It cannot be only intellectualized. Science may help you understanding yoga, but you have to be spiritual in order to live yoga. Igerji mentioned that heartfulness meditation helps you to open your heart to others. And the moment you incorporate whole the world in your heart, it means you are really established in yoga. That is oneness. Badrinath ji said, for that, if you really want to connect to all, you may need to connect to yourself and start with yamas and niyamas in order to connect to yourself first. And one has to do regular abhyasa, and Vairagya and Abhyasa are must for this. He also gave example of Ishwar Pranidhana, and then yoga gradually start changing your view of life, which Igorji mentioned that when you go deep in heartfulness meditation, you find lots of pain accumulated. But when you touch that pain, maybe lots of tears and agony comes out, but once it has vanished, then what you find left is pure love. But it has to go through that pain and difficult point, and then only your heart opens to new understanding. And that new understanding is a new view of life. And that Thakur Krishnaji added that if your objective is small, then also yoga may work for you. If your objective is only mental and physical, go for asana and pranayama. But if your objective is to realize yourself, as they say in Vedanta, aham brahmasmi, then these 8 steps has to be categorically followed without missing a single step. And everything has to be done at mind, body, and soul, 3 levels. In your life, we need to live it. Swami Turiya mentioned that once you start doing it, then what Swami Kuvalyanandji started in 1940s and early 90s, 1900th century, he mentioned about the scientific research has acknowledged this, that yoga is a science which can convert man into Superman. He also mentioned about how Germans were the first people who started scientific research in yoga, getting inspired by the scientific research that has started in India. And systematic yoga, it is called in many of the Western countries, understanding how systematically it approach towards it. He also has started talking about new possibilities in yoga through breathing techniques called space exploration and marine exploration. That's amazing, Swamiji. I have never heard of it. That's quite amazing. And he said that people have developed future labs in that. So it is very much important. And he said yoga is the petrol of your being. So put petrol, then only you will be able to proceed. Never forget to go to the right guru, because only guru will take you to the right place and through the right process. He also mentioned when you practice it, what Badrinath ji said, it goes into your body memory. And when it sinks into your physical memory, then automatically it yields for itself. And in that connect, Igarji mentioned that start doing with 10 Surya Namaskar daily and 10 minutes of meditation daily. Badrinath ji said that first of all, assure that you should be ready for this spiritual practice. It cannot be pushed, as Thakur Krishna ji said. It has to come from within. Self-analysis is must. Go for the value system. What Thakurji said about yamas and niyamas are something that cannot be overlooked. Integrate it in your life. Expect less from people. Accept things as they are, and take success and failure equally. Be mindful in whatever you're doing. Certainly, these tips will enrich our audience. It has enriched me. In gratitude, I bow down to all of you masters for helping us today to understand yoga, science, and art in a better way. Thank you. Namaste.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मिस्टर विक्रांत सिंह तोमर जी, थैंक यू
बहुत बहुत
सो मच।
धन्यवाद
Thank you.
कृष्णा जी, अच्छा लगा।
Thank you very much.